Star, April 8th, 1884. A terrible end. Additional particulars of the death of Henry A. Dewey. The Fortean correspondent of the Star sends the following additional particulars of the death of Henry A. Dewey. About 6:30 the Sunday morning, B. Bailey, while walking on the railroad track, discovered the body of a man lying on the ties between the rails on the bridge over the canal. His body was terribly mutilated, being minus an arm and a foot, the chest torn open, exposing what remained of the vitals. All the upper portion of the head was also gone. And in parentheses, oh, I mean, just reading this is like, wow. Let's see here. Okay. And let's see. Was also gone, and no clothing except one boot and one sock, and part of the pants and drawers. Appearances indicated that the body had been drawn a long distance by the cars. It was evidently dropped by the northbound freight train about 4 o'clock this morning. Frank Coon and others followed up the track, finding pieces of clothing and particulars of the bone and flesh scattered along the track. About 2 miles south of Brayton's Crossing. I'm from there. I don't really recognize that, but part of a foot and boot were found. And further on, part of a coat, letters, and papers. Also a watch, knife, and pieces of the skull and brain. By the papers, it was ascertained that the body was that of Henry A. Dewey of Smith's Basin. The last named articles found were a few rods. Let me see here. Here we are. Here. A few rods north of the victim's house, which is not far from the railroad. Coroner O.C. Burroughs of Whitehall was notified, and A.C. Vaughn placed in charge of the remains. The coroner arrived about 2 o'clock and immediately impaneled the following jury: Willis Witt, foreman; James Doran; D.P. Carter; L.L. Barnard; A. Grant; J. Ashley; John Kenneth; M. Bailey; James Nelson; Walter Stewart; Ezra Belden. The following facts were ascertained. Sorry, it's a long article, though. Mr. Dewey left home Wednesday morning for Cohoes, Albany, and several other places on business. He wrote his wife from Cohoes that he would be home Saturday night if he got through with his business. It is thought he came to Port Edward on the sleeper, then started for home on foot on the track and was struck by a freight train, or that he came up on the freight and while attempting to get off was caught and killed. Yeah. Just how this accident occurred remains a mystery and perhaps ever will. The missing arm was found caught in the train when it arrived in Whitehall. There was no evidence of foul play, as his pocketbook containing $30 was found in his pocket. Mr. Dewey and his brother A.C. Dewey lived on the farm near Smith's Basin, which they let out on shares. Deceased was agent for farm machinery. The jury adjourned to the call of the coroner. Mr. Dewey was 41 years of age and leaves a wife and one child who have the sympathy of the entire community. He was a man of good habits and Christian principles. His funeral will take place next Wednesday. The remains will be interred in the cemetery at Fort Anne. Holy crap.